All right, everybody. New episode. As always, as I told you before, I'm going to have on people I find interesting, that I like, that I know you're going to like, and it continues tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the boss of comedy, Mr. Joe Moffett.
What's good? What's good? How you doing, that Chief?
I'm doing pretty good, but I don't know, man. See, I have to discuss this whole boss of comedy thing here, man. I did not get to vote in this, although I do agree that you're a worthy contender for the title.
Well, I mean, it's easy to compete for a title you create.
Well, that is true. That is true. That's very very good because in that particular case, the judges have the game is rigged, but the most
Pretty
important
much,
thing
yeah.
is you won, and that's what's important.
Yeah, that's usually how it work out in these things. Like I said, when you kind of work, I look at everything and I see trends and everything. And when you look around, you see kings and queens and everybody want to be the top dog. And I'm like, no, I prefer grinding it out and and putting in the work. And if that's what we got to do, then so be it.
Yeah. Let me know where are you actually where are you doing the primarily doing most of your stand up.
Hell, wherever there's a stage, I've basically over the last year. I mean, I've really been nowhere. But mostly it's been in Oklahoma. Some in Texas. I have reached out to Arkansas. Shout out to Nate out there with Nut House
Mm-hmm.
Comedy Lounge. You got a real nice room out there. And then I did a couple of private shows for some people out in Vegas, and then did another show at a college in Mesquite, Nevada, with T.C. Morgan,
Mm-hmm.
another comedian out there in Vegas that does some shows in that area.
It's really weird because I primarily have been on both coasts. The East Coast and the West Coast is where I've done most of my stuff, and
Hmm.
I've traveled through some of this. Obviously I've been to Vegas, but I've traveled through some of the places, and I was always curious about it because I know that when we tell we call them on the East Coast, we call them hell gigs, where you know those shows where everything goes wrong, and no matter how good you are, how skilled you are, it's not going to happen. you know and
Yeah.
and I know you have got to have done, because it's just like anything else. Everybody that does stand up, we've never physically met. It'll happen at some point. We've never physically met. Obviously, we know each other online, but I guarantee you, there's things that you've gone through in the middle of the country that I've gone through on the East and West Coast, because I've got hell gig stories, and I know you have got to have one. I know there's one gig where you're like, sweet God, I got to tell this story to everybody I meet. I know it. I know it. I know it. I want to hear it, damn it.
Oh, hell, you making me dig into the batch, because there was one. Uh, Shit, I don't know if I want to tell this one. No, this was in Vegas, actually. I'll tell this one because 9 times out of 10, most of the people that was at that show probably ain't gonna remember me anyway. But I got booked on this online app out there, and this young lady, she had actually seen my material in Oklahoma, looking at my videos and stuff, and she was on me to come to Vegas
Mhm.
and perform, and she hadn't realized that I was actually already in the area. So we linked up, and she was having a private party at her house, which this was the first time I'd ever done something privately like that. Most everything I'd done was either club shows or something in an event sense, not necessarily at someone's home. But this was supposed to be like a birthday party, I think, for her grandmother, and it was a real classy affair, and or so I thought. 'Cause, dude, I get there, everybody dressed to the nines, everything cool as hell, but we all know when it's all dressed up, it may not still be the same, because this whole situation was crazy as hell, you know. And how comedy goes, I made the mistake of not bringing somebody to kind of warm up the crowd for me. And the problem was that they had a relative there who decided to warm up the crowd well before I arrived. And the way he was warming up the crowd was basically talking shit on his entire family that was sitting in the crowd of this. You know, they had a bunch of tables set up. They had caterers, and it was so fancy. I guess none of them drank beer because they didn't have beer nowhere. And I was mad because I told my wife, I was like, man, we need to stop and get a beer. My wife's like, no, it's all catered and everything. They ought to have beer. No, these Negroes didn't drink beer. So I thought that was weird as hell, you know, and so they had mostly Hennessy and liquor and everything, and then I could tell because this motherfucker was on stage and he was acting a plumb nut. I mean, he was clowning everybody. Everybody was a bitch. Everybody was a hoe. It was nuts, my dude. This went on for about 20 minutes because they wanted to feed me and then let me get comfortable and everything. And I was kind of hoping that they'd be like, you know, playing music, chilling, or eating as well, you know. And this motherfucker was just killing it. By the time I tried to get on stage, the girl that hired me, she pulled me to the side. She was like, okay, I'm going to try to get him off stage. I said, well, y'all have already been trying that for 10 minutes. Let me go up there and kind of push him off, if you will. And I had to do just that. But before I went up there, she was like, I was like, oh, I'm going to have fun with this. She was like, no. You can't talk about him. He going to be mad. I'm like, as drunk as his ass is, he going to be passed out in 5 minutes. What you talking about? He going to be mad. Y'all can tell him about this tomorrow. I'm going to be at the crib with my check. I don't care.
Ooh.
But out of the sweetness of what he could have possibly been, you know, that one of them types, you know what I'm saying? You know, I didn't want to be a part of no Ike Turner type scenarios and shit and have my name involved, you know, saying Joe talk shit about this girl boyfriend and he whooped her ass. I didn't want to be having to do
exactly.
That. You know, so I kind of went up there and tried to strain this turd out as hard as I could, you know, in these folks' backyard for all of like what was supposed to be an hour set for like 10 people. 8 of them was drunk. 2 of them was ready to fight the dude that had just left. So then they certainly didn't want to hear nothing from my black ass. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just a virtual nightmare. My first Vegas experience was not a good one, but I made sure the next time I made sure that, you know, I had somebody else kind of take that run of it and then let me come in there and clean up, if you will, you know, because that following his ass was like, I mean, I'm for real. It was like literally walking in after a dump truck and trying to be funny. That shit did not work.
That is one of the worst things in the world, is to go on to do a gig, you know, outside in somebody's yard, you know.
I tell you, I got close tonight. If it wasn't for the location of the second one, I wouldn't have took it. And it was during the pandemic and everything, and I really wasn't trying to do much as it was. Mm-hmm. But when little stuff was coming in, it'd catch my eye, and I'd run to it. And this one was at the MGM Grand, and it was nuts, you know what I'm saying? Because it was supposed to be a Pimps and Hoes ball, which, you know, that.
Yeah, you know.
Which you know how that go, you know. It was so. When I tell you, it went crazy, just on the fact of, you know, the location alone. But it went over without a hitch, you know. You know, it was built for that. You know, they had hookers in there and everything else. It was a black.
I just want to let everybody know from the audience that to hell with Joe. I don't know what he's talking about. I only go to church services and. He's lying.
If you had told me you done went to east to west, I know good and hell well you done done a casino show or two, and you done seen a hooker or 3, so don't even play with me.
Once again, I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know what a hooker is. I've never been fishing, and I've seen so much stuff. It was really weird because I don't drink and I don't smoke, right? But I've seen the kind of drugs that, like when you go do shows, I've seen the kind of drugs that you see in movies. You know what I mean? You know, and I'm you know, especially because I lived in Los Angeles, I've lived in San Francisco, I've lived in New York, I've lived in Philadelphia. So these are the places I've lived. Obviously, I've traveled to infinitely more places. But some of the stuff that you're seeing, we had a club owner. I can't even come close to saying where the location was. I'm not even going to hint on which coast it was. Just say it was in America somewhere. Okay. And dude is like, "Hey man, great show, bro. All right, here's your money." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, man. You know what? Oh, I'm sorry, that's not your money." Because I was like, "Ah, this ain't my money." You know, like, hey, because he gave me the opening acts money. I was like, "Hey, this ain't what we agreed on." "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll get your money." He goes up the steps to his office, and he's up there for a long time, and he comes back down talking really fast and rubbing his teeth, and he still got powder on his nose. I'm going, "Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh God."
Yeah,
Hey, could you
I
say,
ain't came across many characters like that just yet, but
I
I'm
never play.
looking forward to it. I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm not ready to come across some of those deviants, if you will.
You will. There's a 0% chance you won't. I'm telling you right now. It's like, I never went back to the place. I'm sitting there going, "Oh God, this guy's nuts. This place it says, let me get my damn joke money out of here before this place gets blown up, raided." You know, you know.
Well, no. I did have one pop off at me one time,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to let him have it one day on Facebook because I drove all the way from where I was living at, and this was like a good hour drive to Tulsa. Good hour and a half drive to go to the show for no pay. It was a bringer show. You know how those go. You know what I'm saying? And so that's already, stupid enough. And for those that don't know, in outside of the comedy world, a bringer show is when the promoter lets you come in and do comedy and let you do a quick 5 minutes, but they expect for you to bring in people. Those people will get in for free, but they expect to sell them drinks and food and probably make $40-50 off of them. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how. And me coming in from out of town, it was already a disadvantage for me to do a bringer show. But someone told me, to come out. A friend of mine, it was like, I'll help you get exposure, and I didn't have a problem with that. And so as soon as I hit the club one night, he come running up on me to say, man, you selling tickets tonight? You selling tickets tonight? Woo, woo, woo. I'm like, what you talking about, bro? He was like, you selling tickets tonight? I'm like, if I ain't making no damn money tonight, I ain't selling no damn tickets tonight. What is you talking about? He just went in on me. I mean, I only I've not even hardly seen this man before, if maybe once or twice, and you come talking to me about finance on a free show. Come on now,
Just, you give it. You give me flashbacks, man.
Yeah, that was he was a special individual. I didn't really know how to come across that in a nice manner. I was just, trying not to cuss him out. My wife kind of grabbed my arm and she was like, "No, you in the guest in somebody's house. Don't you can't break him just yet." I was like, "Okay, I'll be good."
Can I throw him?
I know, because it was a lot of wind. He had like 5 or 6 glass windows in the front of the place. He could have got tossed out.
But aren't the clubs? I mean, because where I'm from originally, everything. I mean, there's more people, but everything is just kind of crushed on top of each other. The East Coast, everything is just kind of squashed together. I figure in Oklahoma and that the clubs have got to be really spaced out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they have. There's maybe 1 or 2 that I can think of that actually were like I would say kind of like smushed together.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the actual like comedy clubs, they're usually spaced out. It's usually the nightclubs that are usually kind of spaced together, because of the seating and the way that most of the dance floor is going to be where your seating is. That's going to be it, in the clubs, if you will.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing because the few times I was out there, I was in Texas, and I'm going, I knew this was a big state. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's like you just keep going. I'm going, and here's the funny part was I was going across the widest part of Texas. I'm going, Jesus Christ, man! It's like because you can't, like in New York, you can literally hit club. You can hit, where I'm from. You can have my original hometown in Philadelphia. There was a couple. The two top clubs were one Michael Vick football pass apart. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so and they were both sold out on a regular basis. So they were literally, you could walk to the corner and physically see the other one. And then as I go to the middle of the country, people couldn't you couldn't do two sets in the same night at two different comedy clubs because they were an hour apart or an hour and a half apart.
Right.
So what's the open mic situation out there though?
Oh, it's live. I mean, the comedy scene in Oklahoma is opened up, been huge. I'd say at least over the last 4 years. A lot of it had to do with a lot of not really, big name comedians coming out of here, but a lot of the people that have been here, like Lenny Van Horn is one guy I can think of in particular that is really kind of pushed throughout most of the state. And another name, Lavelle Harris, Bellyville, he passed away last year. Mm-hmm. But before he passed, he was doing cruises. He was hitting all over the state. He did some sets in Los Angeles. I think it was called Chocolate Sundays at a club out there.
Yeah, the Comedy Store.
Yeah. So I mean, he was really pushing it, and when he would do shows, he would bring as many of us as he could. Me in particular, and a few others, that I'm working with right now. That we still trying to keep pushing, because he paved a really, really, really good foundation for comedy in the state, especially for Black folks in general. To give that representation, not just in the public comedy clubs, the corporate names like Looney Bin and things like that, but just, in the nightclub sets too.
It's always good when you have somebody from your area, you know what I mean, that personally, that just kind of, cuts a nice path, you know what I mean? Because it becomes because the thing is, you have your dream and you know what you want to do, you know what you want to you accomplish. But when it's somebody or kind of know, or a friend or an acquaintance and somebody you can talk to, and you watch them start to get something going, it makes that crap infinitely more real to you, right? Because you see somebody on TV, they're already there. Yeah, I don't know that guy. Who the hell's that? That guy's already got 2 HBO specials. I don't know who the hell he knows, but this guy, I know this dude, and I watched him do it. It's like, damn, it's real.
Well, within like the first 3 months I met Bill, he put on a big show in Tulsa, and it was actually, there was a lot of big names that were there. Now I'm a little high right now, so you got to excuse. But AJ Johnson from Friday was a headliner, mm-hmm. And so he was, just things like that we were doing. You know what I'm saying? And got to hang out and chill and kick it with some of these characters and stuff. And it was really awesome, just in that little time to be sitting backstage watching these people doing what they do, watching the crowd enjoy themselves. It wasn't just the stage exposure, it was the comedy exposure and the exposure of the experience of what could come if you keep pushing and keep grinding. I mean, he was an asshole, don't get me wrong. He wouldn't even say my name right on stage. He was like, you got to earn to get your name said right. And, some people would even be pissed off for me about that. And I'd be like, no, that's, if you feel that's like a stepping stone to greatness, in his realm, I'm going to run it. And I'm kind of glad he did it because, hell, it's way more than him knowing my name right now. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm. It's like when the famous people and the big names come to town, especially if you're a fan of theirs, and then you meet them, it's like there's a part of me I'm like, okay, what am I going to meet here? Is this person going to be a piece of crap, or is this person going to be cool? And fortunately, I've only met 2 pieces of crap, and the whole situation, because everybody, for the most part, they've all been pretty cool when I met them. Dice Clay was cool, Tim Allen was cool, Emo was cool, Bobcat Goldthwait was cool. They were all cool people. There was a couple that were, I would describe them in the way that you described the person you just talked about, but I would use harsher language. And but what I'm not going to say their names, but But I was like, I'm literally. It's like you ever see? I'm literally my fist is balling up like I'm standing next to the guy. And I'm going. This guy's like 2 words away. 2 more words, bro. 2 more words. you know. And I'm gonna knock your ass over the cross. I'm gonna knock your ass right over that bar. I'm like, nope, can't beat up the celebrity. Can't beat up the celebrity. So I walked out of the room.
In some cases, they don't want you to be funny as a celebrity. You certainly can't whoop his ass. That wouldn't be cute, you know.
Yeah, well, the thing was, this celebrity walked up to me and he told me I don't do a lot of crowd work. And for the audience, when comics say crowd work, it's like when you engage in a conversation with somebody in the audience to either create something, to ad lib something, to keep the show fresh, or to lead into your next bit. I don't do a lot of it. I don't do a lot of it as a rule. I can do it easily, but I don't do a lot of it all. And in this particular case, I was doing some of it, and the guy who was the celebrity on the show was known for doing a whole lot of crowd work. Now, if this, I'm almost said his name. If this specific celebrity had come up to me and said, "Look, you're doing a great job as my opening act. Could you do me a favor? Is there any way you could like not do as much crowd work because I do that primarily, and I'm a crowd work guy." I would say, you know what? You're right. I didn't even think about that. You got it, brother. I'm gonna keep it tight. I'm gonna keep the bit tight. No crowd work. Be cool. And I was shaking his hand, and it would have been cool. No problem. He goes to the club owner, doesn't realize the club owner loves me. You tell that black kid. Well, he didn't say black kid. Well, actually, he probably did. He did say black kid. You tell that black kid, but he wasn't being racist. He was just pointing out that there was a white guy on the show and a black guy on the show, and I was the black guy, right? You tell that black kid to stop doing crowd work and to make you get fucking yeah. And I overhear it. The club owner turns and looks at me, and I look back at him, and he shakes his head and he shrugs his shoulders, and I go up to him. I'm going, I'm gonna kill this guy. I said, I'm going to kill this guy. I walked on stage and was like 35 minutes of high level crowd work. I made a point to not leave him shit. And he goes on stage and bombed his nuts off. And I said, no, never talk about me behind my back again. Fuck you. And then we were cool after that. He realized he was being a dick, and he apologized. And then I let him. And I just went back to what I was going to do, which was just straight regular stand up. It's like, don't you ever go behind my back in my city, and try to trash me. I can't have that. This is I'm not there now, but that's my city, dude. You can't try me in my city. You ain't gonna win that one. So I get it. I get it.
Well, I've rarely heard anything like that. I mean, that was one thing I can say about everybody that I normally perform with. Other than in the big clubs, mm-hmm. If you're working with a headliner, mm-hmm. Even then that I've only had to deal with that in one particular club, where they'll, someone has actually said, trying not to outdo the headliner. I'm like, well, how the hell does that work? If there's a chance for me here coming to practice outdoing the person that's coming to get paid, you got a problem. Yes. It's got a whole hell of a lot to do with who you booking or who I am or who they are or how all of this even happened.
Yeah,
I'm going to go up there and be funny, and if I decide to pull back, I will. I only got 5 damn minutes to try to make a first impression any goddamn way. Mm-hmm. You're really trying to put a leash on me in 5 minutes? Really, bro?
That's always one of those funny things, but I was curious about this. Now, how long have you actually been doing stand up?
Okay, that is a weird question. Technically, full time, I've been doing it now for 4 years. Mm-hmm. It should be 4 regular years, but it's kind of, I guess you can say 4 years, including the pandemic. But it's outside the pandemic, it's 2017 was when I got back in. The first time I got on stage doing comedy was back in 2001. Mm-hmm. This was actually before I really knew much about comedy scenes and stuff like that in Houston. I was just a dumbass and, sitting around having fun with my friends. And telling them about my life and, just sitting around talking shit, having fun. And they was like, man, you need to go try this out. And, I went a couple of times and it was fun and I did good. I don't know. It just didn't feel like something I wanted to try to really stick with at the time. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, I tried it. It was all right. But as I got older and life was to be lived and, things have happened, it's everything that I've done since then has drawn me back to getting back to where we are now. You know what I mean? Even with the jobs that I've held, people that I've known, it's all come back again and again and again to me being funny. And, when it's kind of like that old story they said in that one comedian said years ago, one person call you a crackhead, you might not be a crackhead. If 10 people call you a crackhead, it's possible one person may have seen you smoke crack. If 100 people call you a crackhead, you a motherfucking crackhead. The odds in favor that 100 people know that you a crackhead, you probably sucked 3 of their dick for a crack. And then smoke crack with 2 of them after you suck their dick. So yeah, you're a crackhead.
I would have to go with
it was one person telling me I was funny. And that wasn't enough. Then it became 10. Then it became 100. And after that, I was like, shit, I got to do something with it.
How long was that first stint, though? How long did you do it that first time?
The very first time, that was 5 minutes. They were open mic.
No. I mean, how long were you doing stand up? Like that first time was like a year or so. Was it
Oh no! That first time, I only did 2. I walked in the club twice, walked on stage twice, performed twice, and never did it again until 2017.
That's a long gap, man.
Yeah, that was a huge. Yeah, that's what I mean. I really literally did it 2 times in a row over a 2-week span, and then I never went back. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't. I didn't get booed off. I didn't get nobody. It wasn't. I wasn't scared off. I just at that point in my life, I was 21 years old. I was a dumbass. I really wasn't trying to look at that as a focus to what I wanted to do. When you which back then, to be honest with you, I didn't have a focus that wasn't in somebody's pants any damn way. I was kind of out there at the time, and I was a nut, so I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do in life. And so, it just, as things, like I said, as time went on and life would be lived the way it is, shit happens and here we are. You know what I'm saying?
Because that is an interesting thing. Because a lot of times, if somebody does it twice, I'm sure you've seen it at this point. You're there doing your thing, and you see a new person come in. They do it a couple times. They do pretty good, or they stink, and then you never see them again. It's one of those things that when you do it, it almost, it's like a voice in your head that goes, nah, bro.
I tell you, if I didn't have my homeboys with me, I would never tell this story, because anytime I tell this story, somebody would think it was a lie. But I had 2 of my partners with me. One of them still walking on the grace on earth, thank goodness, so he can vouch for me when I tell this. We were walking around in a grocery store, I want to say a couple of days after I did the second set, going to the club, and one of the employees that was working at the store stopped dead in his damn track. I don't know what he was doing, but literally walked up to me and like shook my hand. Man, I saw you at the comedy club last night. Me and my wife thought you were hilarious, yada, 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 and it just, even with that, I still didn't go back. You know what I'm saying? Even with something like that, I still did not go back. I just was not feeling it. I just was, at the time, it did not feel like something that I should have embarked. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it could have became something if I would have kept rocking with it, but at looking at it now, it could have. But in the same breath of light, I wouldn't be able to tell the stuff that I got now, because the stories and the things that I'm able to talk about and express is real shit, and it's things that I've lived. And one thing about material, you don't want nobody to be able to jockey shit. Well, the way you avoid that is, to me, is to live the life and to go through the experience that you talk about. It kills me, when I see some comedians go on stage with like paper and like pull their phone out with notes and shit. Because I think to myself, I'm like, I smoke weed all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I have a license to smoke weed all day long. You put me on stage right now, I'm gonna be able to make you laugh just on what's in here.
Mm-hmm.
But I write my shit, you know what I mean? If you've done it enough, it's yours. I don't know. I'm not knocking nobody. Every time I see it, it shocks the shit out of me.
I was surprised at how many people, because it's like all you got to do. I mean, it's a lot of people go about it in like a scientific way. I've seen a bunch of, notepads. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sitting there going, because let's be honest, if you're going on stage with notepads, a lot of times you're only doing 5 or 10 minutes. Like, dude, all you got to do is remember the 4 subject headings. You know what I mean?
You're going to burn 30 seconds trying to unlock your damn phone looking through the notes.
I'm sitting there going, you making a phone call or something?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man.
Because that was just because I've seen it. Some people, when I watch them do that, you could tell that the dude or the lady is like a really, they use like a scientific method to their stand up. They look really methodical about it. Like the period has to be here, and don't say the, say the, and the pause has to be 2.5 seconds. They're really scientific about it. And when I see them pull out the notepads, I go, you know what? That makes sense. Because they, I get it. But I've seen people pull out the damn notepad and they're so messed up on stage and disjointed and sloppy. I'm going, if you that sloppy with a notepad, all you got to do is look down.
It blows my mind when I see that shit, because I'm like, are you drunk? I mean, did you drink? I mean, like I said, because I know I'm going, like we was talking about earlier, if somebody, the drugs is there in the comedy clubs, and it kind of boggles my mind, because I'm like, damn, are you okay? Do we need to, get you checked out or something? I mean, did you not like your shit? I don't know. I mean, goddamn.
Some of these people are just, I just get it. I started at 17. So,
yeah.
So when I saw that, like these people were doing the hardcore drugs all over the place, and I'm going, when you watch a movie and you see all those drugs and you're thinking, man, get out of here. You just doing that for the movie. No. You get in the car with somebody, he's driving, and then he pulls over. This guy pulls over. Hey kid, you drive. I'm like, oh, all right. And you drive in the car. Yeah, go say, pull over right here. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe he's getting something to, he wants to get a soda or something. He pulls out some drugs. He's chopping them up on the dashboard. And I'm going, are you trying to get us killed in here? Nobody's going to believe that I'm not involved in this.
We're coming to Oklahoma now. If you come from Oklahoma, we did a hot box show on 420 out here, and man, when I tell you hot box, boy, we did this. What it was, we did 10 minutes sober. Like I told you, I usually get smashed every day, and so we supposed to do 10 minutes sober. Then you go in the back. And however long it takes for everybody to go on stage, it was like 5 of us. You go on the back, while they on stage, you get fucked up, and then go back on stage and do 5 more minutes. So I ran to the back. I probably smoked about 3 joints and tried to, eat some edibles and shit, trying to go back on stage and everything, so I can be, like extra lit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And man, we had that whole green room, like from out, because we were actually outside. But we were smoking so much out by the back door that you could smell all the weed in through the whole room in the stage room in the theater.
Everybody in the audience getting the free.
Boy, and look, they had it laid out with goodie bags. They gave us T-shirts. All the goodie bags had weed in it. It had weed all on the tables. They had a whole table that had a cabinet top on it. You open the cabinet top and it was full of candy and cookies and shit. They had another thing with water and everything. Somebody passed out because they One of the 5 of us went up, but 4 of us only closed the show because somebody got too lit. And they was done for the evening.
somebody grabbed some stuff for the pros, and
yeah,
you
somebody tried to stomp with the big dogs and got ran smooth over by that killer. That new weed is something serious.
Yeah, that's because the thing is like I stay away from everything. You know what I mean? But the good part about it is all my friends know that I don't do anything at all. So at first they were like, "Come on, man, do that." I was like, "Nah, it's not my thing," and they were cool about it. But the thing that cracked me up the most was watching people because like I'm the only one sober. So obviously, the bad part, the good part about it is I always am available to keep them from getting their asses beat. When they do something stupid. And I can get them home. So because they know I don't do anything, they really go nuts. You know, we can get really fucked up because that's Anthony's going to be driving. I'm like, oh God, I got to keep these douche.
I've never been because I used to have to be the designated driver.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was also a professional alcoholic at like 20 years old. So because of that, I was the drunk designated driver. Because I was the only one who had a car, and I would not give up my keys. But as you can see, no DWI has ever addressed me. I would not do that now, mainly because I rarely drink, as just out of shits and giggles. I kind of made that transfer some years ago. Just where kind of like what you were saying, the whole getting sloppy drunk and ready to fight and everything. I cannot think one time that I've ever smoked a blunt, stood up and said, I'm going to punch someone. That's just not, that doesn't come up in the menu of things, unless if I have to punch the bag to get into the chips, then that might be me punching some shit, but other than that, no.
It's just but that's the weird thing about it is the simple fact that I'm always the designated driver because just by default because everybody knows I don't do any of that stuff. So it's like when I would show up and they know that if I pull up to and I'm taking like other comics with me to open for me and stuff, and they see my car and they're like, oh yeah, that's just like yeah. I forgot who we were opening for. Yeah, I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! You're like,
we going to a comedy show in an Uber? You go ride?
I'm like, you see, it's like this. There's the one dude that, he's like, I already know, I'm probably going to get hit once, keeping this guy from getting stomped. It's like I already know what.
Hey, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I'm too old for that shit.
No. Keep in mind, I'm 52, so this was quite a while ago. If any of my friends start that stuff now, it's like, I had to. All right, I'll say it. What the hell? It's been years. Everybody knows now. I had to whoop one of my friends' asses when he was drunk to keep somebody else from really whooping his ass. You know what I mean? To get him into the car. Did you whoop my ass? Dude, them dudes were going to stomp you in an alley. I had to knock you out.
Yeah, be like, no, I got this.
Like, I'll take care of this. Bow! And I tracked him into the car. And I didn't hit him.
Yeah, be standing up there with him. Fuck him. I beat his ass for you.
And at first, because he was like, yo, man, I heard they told me you knocked me out. I said, dude, there was like 6 dudes that were going to take you in the alley and probably kill you. And he was bigger than me. So I couldn't I couldn't grab him to get him to move because he was too big, but I could knock him out. So
like that in jail.
Yeah, it's like he was just too big. I'm if I ever went up there, I'm just going to just immediately start stabbing everybody.
It was either 6 of them or 1 of me.
I'm stabbing every. It's just really because it's weird. It's like you go into a friend of mine got into this whole altercation with a bunch of dudes, and the whole bar just explode. Everybody's hitting people with stuff, chairs throwing. I see knives coming out. I'm literally stepping on bodies and punching people in the throat just to get out of the bar and dragging my friends with me. And we get outside. The cop cars come pouring around the corner, and they're looking at us. And I was like, look calm. Just walk down the street. Look calm. Look calm. look calm. Like police officer running down the street. I'm going, officers, what's going on? We heard there's a fight. Oh, really? Oh, let me get out of your way to let you do your job. And we got he walked right through them and got into my car and pulled up. We didn't start the fight. It was a bunch of guys trying to jump on us. And then we kind of punched and kicked our way out of the bar. And when we got outside, everybody inside was still whooping each other's ass. But we were outside. And we walked right through the cops. What's going on back there, officer?
Let me tell you about one of my homeboys. No, first of all, I can already tell the company you keep, you hang out some fucking hoodlums. Let me tell you about this nigga I hang out with. This son of a bitch. We're at the bar. This is one of the rare times that my wife actually comes to the bar. So we're at the bar. One of her friends from out of town came in. We were all kicking and hanging out, having a good time. My homeboy was at the bar with his girlfriend. Everybody all hugged up, having fun. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody ran up to my homeboy, whispered in his ear, and as soon as he whispered in his ear, my partner dropped his beer on the ground, grabbed his girl by her face, and drug her out of the bar.
Eee.
Before I can figure out what the hell was going on, here comes his ex-psycho girlfriend walking up to me talking about, hello, Joe. I heard that Dre was here. I was like, oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
Because this crazy heifer was coming to look for him. He done took clean out of the bar. So, yeah, fighting 4-5 niggas and all of that. I ain't got to worry about no shit like that in my world when I got niggas like that to deal with. I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is the extent of the violence, if you will, is a dude running from a crazy chick with his new chick because he don't want none of that shit in his life.
Yes. I mean,
and he ain't even paying this chick child support. I mean, this was just like a like smash and grab. I could see if she was chasing him down for a check.
But the thing was, I learned back then. See, the thing was, when you look, I wish I had a picture of my friends back then. You know, it was like, because it was like big giant white dudes with pins in a hat, biker dudes, hardcore brothers, and we're all stand-ups. So you know, so these are guys that grew up in white hood, black hoods, right? Ready to whoop somebody's behind, but once they started doing comedy, they're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna chill on that stuff. You know, I like to make funny now. You know, I want to tell jokes now. You know, I don't want to be, you know, whooping anybody's behind. I don't want to be a tough guy and anything. And I'm just a guy, a regular dude. I'm only 5'8", so it's not like I'm some giant guy whooping people's behinds. But it's just that I knew how to whoop people's behind. I just didn't want to do it or like doing it. I just did it when I was trying to protect myself. These are some big dudes, man. You know, and so if they do anything, people see the size of those guys. Oh yeah, and I'm like, sweet God, it's like, what is this? And over the years, obviously, I've distanced myself from the ones that didn't learn to stop doing that, and everybody else is kind of cool now. Like the ones I'm still cool with now, I'm cool with all of them, but the ones that I see now, we're all like, you know, I'm the baby of the group. Okay, I'm 52, so these dudes are like in their 60s now, and my new friends are younger. They're not that kind of cat, you know. But I just remember those days, man. I remember those days, and you're like 9 feet tall, ain't you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know. Well, I'm 6 foot.
6 foot? Oh, okay. So that's why you taking all your pictures of somebody laying on the floor or something?
What?
Every time I see a picture of you, it look like you're 12'6". Damn it. You're only 4 inches taller than me, damn it.
I photograph tall. That's what that is.
The hell is it? What is it? 5'6" a leg?
I'm like photo. The camera acts like 6 inches of height.
I'm sitting there going, yeah, Joe's kind of tall. I was like, he ain't no damn, you know, because I remember I seen the picture. I guess Joe's tall. Apparently, you got somebody, you got someone 3'4" taking your damn pictures.
Yeah, that's the camera angle. You know what I'm saying? That's what magic of the photographers and shit.
that was because I was going to ask you that in the beginning. I was like, Jesus Christ, you know, because it's because I know that camera angles can do all sorts of things, man. Because everybody takes pictures of this themselves. They take 55,000 selfies, as you know from being online, and they keep the best one. I just snap here, there, click, there it is. That's all you're getting. I look like I look. The hell do I care anymore?
Yeah, I still haven't. That's one of the things that may hinder me as far as because I've sat here with a pen and piece of paper trying to think of funny videos to make, and trying to get on the whole YouTube and TikTok phenomenons and shit like that, and just I don't know. It doesn't feel like why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? It's I don't want to go on there telling my stories because that'd be a waste of my material that I want to put out on stage for the people. I mean, and with some of that, I mean, I've had people literally have to force some of that out of me. Because I'm very selective with my material, man. I will keep hitting them with the same shit over and over and over again until it keep going. But it's very rare that I'll drop some of that really special material that I have. And cause I got caught into that last week, and it went over great because it was supposed to. But that would be that material I would say that I did, kind of like what you were talking about earlier with the whole timing and the presence and the cadence and all of that. I have material like that, but I also just have my stuff that I've trained and practiced so much that it just goes on stage and flow. That's just how it goes.
It's weird because like the social media thing, when I see dudes, put. I mean, if you were a sketch guy and you want to churn out sketches, I get it. I get it. Those guys that do the videos on you, like you said, on YouTube and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, I dig watching, but I'm at the point now where I like pure stand up. I like listening to longer form things. I don't want to, you watch something that's like 6 minutes long. I'm like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? And if you pour out that much material, when you go on stage, you are going to have nothing, or you're going to be repeating stuff that you already said.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, because as you know, I got 2 podcasts. So I have 2 brains. I have a brain that writes jokes for stage, and I have a brain that creates stuff for podcasts, and they don't crisscross. I don't do the same stuff on the stage that I would do on podcasts and vice versa. Even though it's coming from the same brain, I've been doing both long enough that I can separate them. Because you, my friend, you also podcasted.
I did.
And then you stopped podcasting.
I did.
Explain this, sir. Why did you abandon the podcast world? You disgust me.
Okay, so let me tell you what happened. So the podcast, and I always said this, I never lied to anybody. I said that the podcast was put there to build the comedy. And that's what in a nutshell, if a lot of people ask me where my open mic experience came from, it came from that 120 episodes of that damn podcast. But that was me in a room by myself, being completely as raw and raucous and saying whatever the hell I wanted to say and working it out in my head so that once I would start hitting the stage, it would become just that. And as life is to be lived, and then things happen, I started hitting that stage more, and it was kind of not too long after that in 2017. And plus, you got to remember that summer was quite hectic. That was one of the years when a lot of the protesting had begun, and we were all doing nonstop shows almost at the time. And almost every show was having to talk about somebody being shot or Trump's stupid ass, or all the things that were happening at the time. And it, to me, as I started getting back on stage, I started realizing that it started kind of feeling like less comedy and more news. You know what I mean? It felt like I had to be this presence to everyone. That to if I was going to have this platform, I had to always speak out on what was going on the platform. And I was like, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of weighing a little bit because, you know, especially when I'm trying to go out on the stage and you know, just trying to grind and be funny and take people away from that aspect. You know what I mean? It just the two worlds weren't rubbing together right. You know what I'm saying? Just and a lot of that did have to do with the content that I did talk about. You know, we got funny, but we also got real. It's just as time went on with the show, shit started getting realer and realer and realer, more and more and more. And like I said, I mean, I would find myself writing and not even being able to squeeze in a joke.
Mm-hmm. These things will beat you down, man. You know, I don't think people that even there's a lot of podcasts, people don't realize that once you've been when you do, because they call it pod fading for people who are listening to us. People do 4 or 5 of them and then get the hell out of there because they're going, hey, podcasting, everybody's doing it. This is fun. Mm-hmm. And then after a while, people start listening to you and then you start feeling a responsibility. And, you know, and if it's not something that you just love to do a lot, it starts to feel like an additional job and it just kind of beats you down and beats you down and beats you down. And, you know, a lot of people are like, look, I got a job already. I don't. You know,
well, I mean, it was that, you know, for me, it was always that it became that weekly release, you know, for 30 minutes for a week, you know, I was allowed to voice my opinion and say what I wanted to feel and whatever the hell, you know, if you liked it, great. If you didn't, you didn't, you know, a lot of people liked it, you know, some people didn't, you know, I had more people tell me they did that they didn't. So, you know, that all works for me. But, you know, once I started getting back on stage, I had a feeling the podcast was going to go away anyway. And that was the reason why, you know, as time was going to go on, and I knew once I started seeing become more than just open mic, that's when I knew the podcast was going to go. When I started seeing my name on flyers and on tickets and, you know, and out here in Oklahoma, that's easy to do because you don't have a lot of people at that time that were coming through here, you know, because the scene hadn't built up, you know. So to be a part of that at that time too, you know, be on some of those flyers and you know, and to be on some of those shows that, you know, may have brought a lot of attention that's here now is, you know, fucking awesome, you know. You know, we you know, the people that's out here in the powers that be did a lot to build to where it is. And right now, you know, with the attention coming to Austin, you know, that's going to spread up to Dallas. And then when you tie in to Oklahoma, you know, as, you know, life starts to be reopened and stuff like that, it's, you know, Oklahoma is going to eventually, you know, pop into and eventually turn into a big hub for comedy, you know, right in the center of the country. And, you know, and to be honest, and people out here, they want to hear balls to the wall. They're not shy. You know, I don't want you to think just because it's in the Bible Belt, you got to come out here and be in the comedy club like, you know, praise Jesus, yeah, no. These people are fucking disgusting.
That's one of the weirdest things in the world when you go to a place and you just assume everybody's going to be sitting there like this with their hands crossed and how he said heck. Oh God, he said heck. You know, you know.
I tell you, hold on. I saw Tracy Morgan at the casino a couple of years ago out here. This was kind of before I got back home myself, and I actually saw a couple of people walk out. This was about a year or two after his accident. And he had been touring and he pulled a piece of paper out on stage, but I could understand why. That was the first time that I can actually recall in my comedic time seeing somebody pull paper out and on stage, but I understood why. This man had almost been killed. We're literally being blessed with his presence, being him here with us. And then to see people walk out, I kind of got pissed off for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Because they thought they was coming to see Tracy Morgan from 30 Rock. You know, no, that hell no. That ain't Tracy Morgan.
It's
that's NBC's Tracy Morgan. No, we was coming to see Martin's Tracy Morgan. We was coming to see Hustle Man.
That always cracked me up because like Bob Saget from what's that show, Full House?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen his act?
He is absolutely disgusting.
That is the dirtiest act I've ever seen. And I'm sitting in the
I never,
balcony.
I never knew how dirty he was until after Full House.
Oh God, it was hilarious. Because we knew he was dirty because he goes, my act's really dirty. And I go, okay, I don't know why you're telling me this. And he goes on stage and the Bob Saget in the audience, yeah! Blah, 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 blah. Ooh. Watch, there's some people are laughing harder because of the fact that his act was really, well, it's probably still dirty. It's just really dirty because they thought they got a kick out of him. Oh, the Danny Tanner, whatever his name on the show, he's just talking dirty. Nobody walked out, but they were like,
They
what?
wasn't ready.
You can see them looking like confused, like they were confused, and I'm laughing hysterically in the balcony. We're all sitting there watching it, laughing because he said it was dirty, but I didn't know when he said dirty. I'm thinking regular dirty. You know what I mean? I didn't know it was like Jesus Christ. And at the time, I was yeah.
Dirty. I expect something. If he don't go completely and totally raw, I'm gonna dog his ass because I'm disgusting. So I know I get on stage to say any damn thing. That has already happened.
Yeah.
That's part of my repertoire. To me, if you have been on stage and never heard from at least one person, you know, bruh, you doing something wrong. I've shot shit out of some people and I love it.
that was one of my. I remember a lady. It was like a religious group, right? And it was like really religious group, and we had an act. This guy was one of the funniest human beings. He was like the local version of Bernie Mac, right?
Right.
He was. I mean, he didn't copy Bernie Mac. He was like a brother, talk fast, really dirty, but just super duper likable.
Yeah.
And he gets booked on the show, and I get booked on the show, and I can be dirty, I can be clean. I'm like right in the middle somewhere, depending on how I feel at that particular time. So I have no problem going on to be clean. The opening act goes on, and he don't know what he's doing. He's dirty as hell, and the people in the audience are looking at him like, ugh. Right? I go on, and I'm this likable kid. I'm 18, 19 years old. A little dirty. They're laughing. They're rolling on the ground. You know what I mean? And he comes on, and I'm telling you, his act is like, but he's so damn likable. I mean, he's like, I used to say back then, if you don't like this guy, I should just walk up and slap you in the mouth because you're an ass if you don't like this guy. He's really super dirty, but he's killing them, destroying this religious group. Sex, crushing this place. And I'm watching the person in the back that didn't want him on the show, and I'm laughing my ass off because he's crushing this place, So it's a lot of it is basically what the audience will tolerate from you specifically. If they believe you or trust you, they don't care what you say.
I mean, I actually saw somebody try to get away with a 9/11 joke one night, and I was like, "Damn, bro, you're kind of bold." I was like, I saw another comedian like pull out like a child abuse joke in front of a child abuse advocate. I was like, you know what I'm saying? But in the same breath, I've also done shows where like I had, they were doing poetry and comedy, and that was like absolutely horrifying because you're hearing these horrible poetry stories. I could see if they was like doing dirty poetry and being nasty, but no, they were like talking about like personal life experiences and trouble in the home and stuff. And then I got to go up on stage talking about farts and snot and shit and everything. How the hell is that supposed to work?
Have you ever?
I've been in some weird shows already.
Have you ever done the Alcoholics Anonymous and Al-Anon meetings?
Nah, I ain't done none of them.
Yeah, I'm talking about shows. I've done shows there, and it's like, you're sitting in the back, and I'm going, wow, you know what, these guys, and the guy goes, keep it clean, and I'm going, okay, I got a clean act too, no big deal. Guys are on stage talking about what they did for real in their lives. You know what I mean?
Telling me clean?
We walked over to the book, and I'm going, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Like, "Hey, lady, you suck my dick crack. Are you really telling me to be clean?"
He's like, and this guy was like talking about banging an animal, right? And I'm sitting there going, "So you don't want me to say anything harsher than hell?" And he just did 20 minutes about having sex with a cow when he was drunk. So you want me to, and we're, and it was just like, I was sitting there going, because I obviously now the guy didn't actually say having sex with a cow. He said something equally disgusting, but because I made a promise not to actually talk about what I heard in these meetings, I made up something equally disgusting because I gave my word. It's been 30 years. I'm going to keep my word and not bring up what he actually said. But it was something equally disgusting, right?
You do know that what's it called? Statute of limitations is passed, right?
Yeah, but I still got to see this dude. So come on, bro. He's listening right now. Well, he's not listening right now because we're recording it. But when it comes out, he's going to hear it. He's going to be.
See him running up on you. So you son of a bitch! Oh my god!
I tell you right now.
You for the cheap thrills, you bastard!
You mother sucker! I've had people that I talk about on the other podcast when I tell personal stories, right? And I always change everything. I change what coast it was on. I change the sex of the person sometimes. I'll change just enough. I've had people come up to me laughing about a story, and I'm going, yeah, that didn't sound familiar to you? What you talking about? Think about the story I told again. He goes, "Oh shit, that was us." Oh, I was like, "Yeah, that was what you did." But
I really do anything to protect the innocent. There's no innocence around me. If your ass was there, your ass remembered it. You can lie and say you didn't. I don't care.
Oh God, I just imagine what would have happened if they had cell phones and the internet back then. Jesus Lord. Oh, half my friends would their careers would have been ruined.
Oh God. If they had camera phones in the 80s, I could right now half of the shit that people got away with back then. I mean, I could tell you some true stories that would really truly give you nightmares because it was some shit going on in the 80s, man. That just it's nuts. I'll be honest with you. It was the 80s was a wild time, man. Kids, folks was back then. Them adults back in them days really ain't got room to say shit to these kids right now. Because to be honest with you, the ones around our age ought to be lucky they survived that crazy shit. Because man, I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. It was nutty as hell back then, boy. I tell you.
Yeah, because I turned 21 at the end of 1989. So I remember the 80s. I was a teenager for most of it, but I'm telling you now, there's people that I know right now. Now, like I said, this is being recorded, so this is going to come out in like a week or two. So you are listening, and you know who you are. And I've been kicking it with you and your wife. I'm talking to my friends, Joe. So I've actually been in the house with you while you scolded your teenage children for doing some stuff, acting like you never did the same stuff when I was with your punk ass when you did the same stuff, right? Right? So we're in the car. I can't believe that boy did that. And I'm laughing. He goes, "What?" And I'm going, "Okay, I want you to look to the right in the passenger seat, who you're driving around. Now, what did you say you didn't do again? Because I was there with you, with your lying ass."
No. Shit, I was 9. I was only 9 years old by 1989, and I'm sure I may have been partially responsible for the Texas Alcohol and Tobacco Commission shutting down a nightclub that was out by the Astor always used to Texas.
Yes, it's just, and that's the weird thing because everybody now, it's like they just want attention so badly. They want attention so badly that they do crap, and the stuff that they're doing, people 2 or 3 decades ago, not me, of course, other people, not me, other people. We're doing it just for fun. Like, you see a guy getting it on with someone in the back of a truck that's driving down the freeway. And of course, and I'm going, now, of course, I would have never done anything like that.
Whoa, fuck that. Getting it on. Try laying a child on top of a box spring and a mattress in the back of a pickup truck riding down a damn country back road, farm road, moving between houses and stuff, trying to get, because your ass ain't got no string to tie down the fucking mattresses.
Mm-hmm. I've seen
So
some.
you pick the fattest kid in the house to lay on the mattresses and hope to God that him, the mattresses, and his ass don't fly out the back of the damn truck.
It's like every time I see these videos with people putting stuff on tops of trucks, every time I do, like, if I do a gig, like in the middle of like, if you like, my home state of Pennsylvania, there's Philadelphia on one side, Pittsburgh on the other side, and the entire middle of it is not Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, if you understand what I'm saying. So, it's like Ohio. It's like, one side is this and one side is that, and in the middle, it's just like the middle of the country. So, people in the middle of Pennsylvania look at Philadelphia and Pittsburgh like F Philadelphia and F Pittsburgh. They stink, And so you're driving through, and I see stuff, and you do shows in places like that. First of all, the audiences are cool as hell. They love you being there. They love it. But you see stuff that you never really normally see, like what you just described. You see a guy he's holding lumber on the top of his truck with his one hand, his left hand, and he's driving with the other hand.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of dumb things that we can see now happening that didn't happen. I'm just as an example of some of the horrible things that I had back in them days. I mean, I see plenty of stupid. Hell, I live in an RV and have traveled the country the last year living in RV parks. I done seen some dumb shit.
So you live in an RV, man. If I'd have known that, I would have, man. What the heck is that like, bro? When you can just
it's great.
Because I've seen some RVs and I'm like, man, that's some cool ass stuff, bro. I've seen someone that I saw some stuff. I was like, damn, that is cool. Super cool. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, mine it's a 2018. We bought it because, the kids were leaving the house, and I kind of had a long talk with my wife, and we weren't really in a position of buying a house and trying to make an investment like that. And well, we kind of were actually, but we were like, who would be there? I mean, the kids are leaving. My son, who actually, he lives with his mother in Georgia, so I only get to see him once a year, when he comes here. So I mean, having a house and holding on to all of that. And then where we were living, we were paying rent, and we just kind of really took a honest look at our finances. We were just like, what's the point? We're literally paying for somebody else's house. So we was like, we might as well just get the RV, even if we keep it, 4 or 5 years, or even 2 or 3 years. We're already in year 3 now. We're already looking at maybe, trading up to something else, So, I mean, it's one of those things that you're not locked into something forever if you don't want to be. And that's kind of the freedom of it. And we don't have kids here. That's the main thing. No children. We see people trying to do this with children, and we look at them like, you're weird.
Yeah. How often do you actually unhook and take it on the road?
We were, the last year has been the most. When we got it originally, we kind of had it parked for about 2 years here in Oklahoma. And then when we finally took it, we took it to Houston before the pandemic. And then after that, we took it to Vegas. No, we took it to Colorado for 2 months. We took it to Vegas for 4. We took it to Albuquerque for 2 months and Texas for 3 months. And then we've been back in Oklahoma now for 2 months. So it's been this last year has been kind of that huge circle of hitting Vegas and back, if you will. And trying to do as much craziness as I could between there. But like I said, with the pandemic, it was, depending on where you were, the whole world was completely different. Being in Vegas, you would see somebody get knocked out if they didn't have a mask on, where being in Texas, you would be amazed to seeing people with masks on. It was literally one of those situations, and see that it was so weird. Because I mean, and I can't even throw that on Texas. I can throw that on Arizona because it was the same effect. As soon as you crossed out of Nevada into Arizona, you saw the same. I walked in the stores in Arizona that were like, "Oh, you don't have to have your mask on," and I was like, "This was like in August of last year," and I'm like, "Really, bruh?
Did you take your mask off?
Hell no!" I'm supposed to go there to
Did you get jammed in the arm?
Yeah, I got my. I'm vaccinated.
Oh, you got both of them?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
I only got one so far. I get my second one on the 13th. I can't wait for them to jam that damn thing in there. Get this crap over with.
Oh yeah, I'm ready to rock. That's what I said. I'm ready to rock now. Any stage y'all got, I'm ready for them because that's the reason why. I mean, this shit took my mind, man. I mean, it's anybody that wanted to play with it is crazy. And I ain't gonna lie. At first, when I was hearing the numbers, I was like, man, they really going too far with this. And I was like, it's really archaic. But then, with months on end, when I started hearing the, thousands of people, and then 10,000 people, and then 50,000 people, and then by the time it hit 50,000, it started hitting close to home for me because, I do have a little bit of a following out here now between the podcast and doing shows and everything. So, when you start seeing it in that personal level, it really started getting real.
So it took your mother.
Yeah. When I talked to my mom, December 21st was the last real conversation with her because she actually called to tell me that my aunt had passed away. She had passed away just from old age, but
yeah.
She was calling to tell me that, and we talked for about 30, 45 minutes, and then I called her on Christmas Day, and she was really down, and she wasn't really doing well, and my sister told me that she had been talking to her, and then the next day they took her to the hospital, and then within 2 hours of her being in the hospital, she passed.
Man, double infinite condolences on both, brother. Good Lord. Good Lord.
This last year has, I appreciate that, by the way, but it's all been eye opening. The one thing I did promise her, because after the show I did in Mesquite, Nevada, I kind of came down with a little bug, and I talked to my mom about it, and she went in on me. She went smooth off and was like, you're going to get yourself killed over some bullshit, and it ain't worth it. You need to, stop and shut this down until, we know more, or get the vaccine situated or something. Don't you do, she told me, don't you do a damn show until you get both shots. And I kept my promise. I did not hit the stage until I got my second shot. And I got my second shot on the 15th, and I hit the stage on the 20th.
I mean, you Moderna or Pfizer?
I did Moderna.
Yeah, it's the one I got. I got one Moderna shot.
Well, see, plus I got the Moderna shot because I had a test monkey, because my dad got his shot first. Mm-hmm. And so I got to check him out to make sure he didn't grow any horns or get an extra tail or no shit like that. If something like that would have popped off, and I'd have been like, yeah, we'll probably go with the Pfizer vaccine. Mm-hmm. But since he got Moderna and he just kept being the normal asshole that he was, I went ahead and got the shot,
Well, let's think, if you'd grown some horns, I mean, that's a good bit.
Well, yeah, I was going to hell, so it'll match the outfit well. I mean, I'm just,
Ladies and gentlemen, the boss of comedy, and you walk up there with horns on and shit. Hey, man, take those horns off. Kind of can't.
That ain't happening for us. All right, that's it.
Yeah. And that's just I gotta ask you this, because you said you took the RV. How close can you get? Because did you have a plot when you went to Las Vegas? I mean, I know they're all over the place, but how close to Vegas could you physically get with the RV?
Oh no, we were in Vegas. Mm-hmm. I was in city limits.
Yeah,
and this I'm gonna tell you this, because this I'll share this with you because I did share it the other night. We didn't find out till like 3 months after we left that we were actually staying in a neighborhood that they nicknamed Little Afghanistan.
Okay.
And I mean, this spot. I mean, no, we were in Vegas city limits because to be honest with you, the outskirts of Vegas is really shit. And for everybody that thinks that they've been to Vegas and kept their ass on the strip, fuck you. You ain't been to Vegas, okay? You have not seen Las Vegas until you get off the strip. Until you drive down about a good 2 mile stretch of road and smell nothing but piss and anger, you ain't been to Las Vegas. Okay? I don't know if they must run Febreze van vent over people on the strip and everything, because they don't. When you ride down the strip, everything smells lovely and terrific. As soon as you turn down that road heading towards Nellis Avenue, you're gonna smell nothing but piss and frustration through that whole damn city, because it smells absolutely horrible.
Well, have you ever been to the East Coast?
I have. Well, it's been some years. I used to go to Atlanta from time to time when I was younger, but
Okay.
it's been stopping out there.
Well, let me just put it to you this way. I haven't been to Atlantic City, New Jersey, in quite a while. I used to work there. I did some shows down there. They would say, "Listen, we're going to need you to stay near the boardwalk. We don't want you to go behind the casinos anywhere. We need you to stay near the boardwalk." And of course, as a young idiot, I walked off the boardwalk, and and it was very, very similar to what you just described to Las Vegas. Because the times that I went to Las Vegas, I drove in. I went right into the strip. I had no interest in going anyplace else. It's like,
Yeah,
I just, you know what I'm saying? If you're going someplace where there's gambling, always know the places where the casinos are is going to be really nice. You go on the other side of those casinos, you might as well just stab your damn self.
Oh, I mean, they'll tell you there's a part of the strip called Naked City. If you go past the Stratosphere, you might not make it back.
Yeah, they didn't have to tell me that.
They tell you about Naked City. If you go past the Stratosphere, you might not make it back to your casino. So I suggest you make sure you leave your shit at home. They don't mess around. Look, everybody keep wanting to run down to Vegas and have fun and all that whatnot. And, you know, it was definitely eye-opening to be, you know, because, the RV park that we were staying at, it was right out there by Henderson. So, like I said, it wasn't on the strip, but we were still in Vegas city limits. So,
yeah, Henderson, I heard, I was looking at, I don't know what, when you go on YouTube and all of a sudden it just starts recommending crap to you. I don't know how the hell this happened, but it was recommending houses in Henderson, and it didn't look too bad.
You want to see a bunch of mess if you can.
But I was just sitting there. All I'm saying, when you got, what did you do? Catch a cab when you put the RV there? Because I know you didn't take it down the strip.
Well, no, my RV is actually the travel trailer, so I pull it with my truck.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get it parked and everything, we just drop it off the truck and then move around.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I had pictured, what I was thinking. About one of the monsters.
No, I ain't got to that level yet. We ain't got there yet, bro. We gotta. I gotta get some more people. Get lined up with some people that do your booking and shit to kind of get that kind of money, bro.
At least you have some mobility.
I gotta get my game. I gotta step my game up a little bit more to get to the big RV.
Well, the thing is, at least you got some mobility. You know what I'm saying? You're not stuck with that, because then. Once you put one of those monsters someplace, it's not like you can drive it down to the McDonald's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, that would have to be something that would come with a process of, we'd have to have another car attached to the back of it or something. But like I said, by the time I get to that level, we ain't even started dreaming that far just yet. Just, we just got past we ain't even got the full 95% effectiveness from the shot and shit. So you got a couple weeks after that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So that's why I'm like, I ain't really running out there too fast. I got 2 shows coming up in Tulsa, but they're gonna be in one night, so it'll be just a double whammy that we're doing there. And so tickets are on sale right now. People can message me on Facebook to get those tickets, or can message my other starter show, Mr. Damon Detroit. And tickets are $15 free sale, $20 at the door, May 8th at the Aloft in Tulsa.
Now let me ask you this before we get out of here, because I got to find out, what kind of comedy spouse do you have? Does she come to the
Oh,
shows?
I got a nut. Yeah, she always roll with me. This my road dog. I mean, it's just me and her. You know what I'm saying? So, like I was saying, having that person that can vouch for the shit that we've seen, and I say, I've literally seen like half of the crowd look at her, and she'll like be like nodding, like, yes, this really happened. Shut up, quit looking at me. Why are you looking at me? He's telling the damn story. She just holding the phone, and I look back at the video. It's like 50 faces looking at her, like, did that really happen? And she's like, just pay attention to the damn show. Yes, it happened. So yeah, no, that's my rock. She run with me forever. So
Yeah, that's good because it, I've seen the comedy spouses, girlfriends, or comedy boyfriends who they come to the show and they're like, let's get this crap over with so we can get back home. I've seen a bunch of those, and I've had a couple of girlfriends who literally would call me before a show and ask me how much new material I was doing because they knew that I was writing a new act. They go, how much new material are you doing? I said, well, I'm only doing a new 15-minute chunk. No. Call me when you're doing 32 minutes.
Hold on. This woman has been with me at a job, and I was working at a car lot in a little town called Enid, Oklahoma. And I was at work one day, and I get a call at home telling me that I was gonna have to have a meeting the next day. And apparently, I got written up because I told a joke that apparently the training lady that I was working with said that she felt it was inappropriate. But as soon as I asked what was the joke, nobody could remember the joke. So I was like, wait a minute. You offended about something that you can't even recite by word that of what I said? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, she has been with me and seen me getting written up at jobs and gotten in trouble just for telling jokes and shit. So she knew this was coming. This was something that was going to either eat me alive or I was going to have to take advantage of it because one way or another, I was going to have to get on the mic again. Just because of the way my life, like I said, the way my life was coming, it was living itself. It had to be told. This shit cannot be contained. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And to have that presence and that ability to be able to do it is a blessing in itself. And all I could think to myself the whole time was, why not?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm here. There had to be a reason why God put me on this path and had me go through and see the things that I've experienced, and whether good or bad, if I can make it funny, it works. That's all. That's what it's became.
That's one of the best things about this job. I was talking to somebody else I had on the show, and I said one of the good things about doing what we do, and this is why I've gotten a lot more even tempered over the years, is bad things will happen to you, and at first you get pissed off, but then because of what we do, you're like, hold it a second, that was horrible and embarrassing, and it's going to make me money.
Yeah.
It's like this. I could be embarrassed, but I could actually use this.
Yeah, and get paid. Well, I made more money. I made more money on the shows that I did during the pandemic than I've made in general.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll keep it 100 with you because, and I know it had a lot to do with being in Vegas, and I know there was a lot of, people that, for somebody to pull something off like this, they had to be desperate for entertainment because, I was walking by Brad Garrett's comedy club with the doors shut down.
Mm-hmm.
There was no activity outside of the, of the casino, and then even in the casino, you couldn't smoke a cigarette without having to pull your mask down, puff the cigarette, then pull your mask back up. Vegas was not messing around when it came to the mask laws and following the rules and regulations of the CDC compared to some of the other areas, like Texas. And I'll call them out, Texas, Oklahoma, and Arizona. The Colorado, New Mexico, and Vegas and Nevada was completely and totally strict. Arizona, Texas, and Oklahoma, they didn't give a damn.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like especially Las Vegas is like, look, the faster we get this over with, the faster we get to go back to doing what we do, was turn into a gigantic money machine.
Oh, you had people that were originally entertainers and were blackjack dealers and would make money at living their lives by the lives being lived by those that come to Vegas. And when that all got shut down and they weren't able to pay their bills, what were they supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, in between, while you got people running around here thought it was easy to just run like it's business as usual, and that threw me off enough with this pandemic, because just people genuinely not giving a damn. Because that's what it came to at the end of the day.
It was an amazing thing to see, and I'm sitting there going, we need to end this as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, you because like the people that, I mean, obviously a lot of comics as well. And, there was people that were just like, I can't take this anymore, and I'm going, I know your pain. You think I want to stand up and tell jokes to drunk people too? Of course I do, but it's like, let's just end this as quickly as possible so we can all go back to normal. Cause you know how much you miss just normal stuff now.
I've talked to comedians that actually took the entire year off. And when I say the entire year off, I mean, even I did 2 shows before the shutdown. Mm-hmm. I did a show in Tulsa and I did a show in Oklahoma City in February before the shutdown happened in March. So yeah, I got to flex, to some extent. I did shows in December and January. I was doing shows, almost nonstop up to that point. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I was able to get some flex on, before everything shut down, and then even was able to flex during the pandemic. And, I know people who actually that were forced to sit out because they weren't really, they were getting their groove, but they hadn't really, they were getting some shows here and there and things like that. But I hate that I think that a lot of good comedians may have put themselves, because of the pandemic, on the shelves too soon. And I really hope that the pandemic hasn't discouraged too many that were pretty damn decent, from coming back, just because of the fact, there's ways of being safe. I got a whole bag of microphone condoms right now. Mm-hmm. Even when I get them, I don't care, but don't give up because and let this pandemic take you out just because of that. Because yes, it's taken out enough. Don't, to me, I think my mom always say, don't block your blessings. I say all the time, if you got that shine and you got that gift, don't deny yourself from being able to run with that gift just because of the time, And like I said, I mean, I was even hearing comedians in Vegas saying, when we were out there, they're having to leave. They're having to go back to where they came from because they just aren't able to manage being out there during that time.
Yeah, I think it was like a bomb blowing up in front of them in the middle of a China shop. It just boom, and just blew everything up.
Yeah,
shut everything down.
There's people that don't really understand how much human loss, financial loss, loss in general. Everybody lost the last year. Anybody think that they if your ass did gain, I'm willing to bet you lost somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn. Nobody won over the last year.
Not a damn person. Man, not nobody. But the pleasant thing is, very, very soon, we'll be able to go back to some semblance of normal, and we'll be able to go back to, speaking of us as performers, fully standing in front of drunk people and telling them funny stories.
We need to talk about linking up and doing a show together, man. We need to put that in the air and make that happen.
Dude, first of all, when it comes time, when this is over, I'm gonna be so everywhere. I'm gonna be sitting across from you eating a burger and still doing shows in 5 other states at the same time.
That's what I'm talking. I'm wanting that kind of momentum, and I got to lay out to get it done. Like I said, if I need, I can pull up and have myself a place to sleep, a place to eat, and a place to drink, and do whatever else I want to do. For that matter, all I need to know is the destination. Shit.
You're damn right, my brother. I want to thank you. I had a blast talking to you, man. I wanted to get you on earlier. And I'm glad I got you on here now, man. This was cool as hell talking to you, man.
Absolutely. The pleasure was mine as well, Chief. And like I said, you've been doing it big for a long time, man. I'm glad you done kept the podcast thing going. I will go ahead and drop a little tidbit on your show. We will be bringing another podcast in the coming months. It will be called the Boss Lounge. I have been working on some layouts and stuff for it and trying to get some things put together, but it's just, I got so much on my plate right now, dog. I got just every eye on the stove burning and a couple of more plugged in on the outside stove, man. It's just, it's so much going on now, but I'm going to go, I am going to lock it down. Now that we kind of got a better understanding of some goals and stuff that we want to do here in the coming weeks and months, I can say that the Boss Lounge will be the new podcast that will be coming out. I want to say this summer. I can't tell you the exact date, but it will be out this summer.
That's good, and I will check you out, my brother. And if you start having guests on, I'm just saying, what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh, already, you already know.
All right, my brother.
I'm actually gonna do guests this time. I promise. I'm not just gonna hog the mic out to myself. Even though I know y'all love that shit, I ain't gonna hog the mic out. I'm actually gonna do some guests and we'll actually do a formatted show, not just me having a breakdown of epic proportions of the weekly basis.
All I'm saying is, I don't. But the funny thing about it is that's one of the things I notice is that how much people really, when somebody likes you, especially if you're a solo podcast, if it's just you talking by yourself to the audience, when they like you, they really like you. I was like, good God, some of the email I was getting on the other pod in the beginning when it got started, I was like, damn, I'm only like 4 episodes in and I'm getting, hey man, I connect with you, bro. You're the way I connect. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I only done like 5 of them.
Well, but any of my old podcast fans, and I'm pretty sure some of them still follow you, I'm still running around here. Y'all can find me on YouTube. You can always Google the Boss of Comedy. I am the only exclusive copyrighted name of the Boss of Comedy. Anybody else seen with that name is a lying son of a bitch, beat him up in the street. That belongs to me. Okay? So y'all can always Google me at Boss of Comedy. I'm always on Facebook, Twitter. I'm always somewhere doing something. So just check me out wherever you go searching for crazy shit. I'll be there.
And for those of you listening to the podcast, and I know you're listening, this man is S. Anthony Thomas approved, so you know what you need to do. Check him out. My brother, thank you much. And I will, of course, continue to harass each other on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, like I said, we need to look. It's all linked up in the stars. You, me, Random Rob, and all of them. Yeah, man, we got some big things coming up. It's already written. I'm telling you now.
All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's my boy, too, by the way. I'm having him on a little later on. Joe, much love to you, my brother.
You too, bro. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Keep doing it big.
Hey, take care, my brother.
All right.
Aha, I told you that was going to be fun, didn't I? Uh-huh. You're going to believe me from now on, aren't you? Much love to you. I appreciate you listening. See you next time. Take care.